Hi artists, it's Miss Messer, your friendly neighborhood art teacher. Today we're going to learn how to use watercolors to mix a neutral color. To learn about neutrals, we're going to look at the color wheel, examine complementary colors, and use complements to make a neutral. Let's start by taking a look at the color wheel. You might be wondering what this thing called a neutral is. So first take a moment to look and think about what colors are missing from the color wheel. You'll notice that nowhere on the color wheel will you find black, brown, gray, or white. That's because those colors are made by mixing complements together. Remember that complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel. For example, yellow and purple are complementary colors. Red and green are complementary colors. And blue and orange are complements. Here's an example of how an artist used complementary colors next to each other to create a sense of contrast. Contrast means choosing colors that are very different from each other. But today we're going to mix the complements together to get a neutral. Here's my castle, which has been traced with permanent marker so I can begin the next step. I'm going to show you the supplies that I need, including some watercolors with the brown and the black popped out so I'm not tempted to use them. I have water, a towel, and of course my paintbrush. My first step is to dip my paintbrush in the water. I dip, swish, wipe it on the side, and make a puddle in my paint. The puddle is very important, so make sure that you have one. We're all going to start with our warm colors first. And as we're practicing with warm colors, you want to make sure your watercolors are transparent, meaning you can see through them. You don't want them to be too dark or heavy, or else your watercolors will look muddy. So if they are looking dark or heavy, it's a sign to you that you need to add more water to your puddle. Since we're starting with warm colors, I'm going to start with red, making sure that my colors are transparent and that I have a puddle in my red. And if that red gets too dark, I can wipe the paintbrush on my towel so it's dry. Then I use my dry paintbrush as a vacuum, and it will suck up the extra water and paint, and it'll help make the color a little bit lighter. Then I'm going to go on to my next warm color, which is orange. But before I put a puddle in my orange, however, I'm going to need to wash out my paintbrush so there's no red left on it. If there is red on it, it will turn my orange red. Watch how I fill in some of my bricks with orange, using my paintbrush as a vacuum if my color is too dark. My last warm color is yellow, so watch how I fill in the rest of my bricks with yellow. Now I'm going to go back and put a second layer of paint on all my bricks, but this time I'm going to use the complement to each color. Be aware, however, that blue, purple, and green are stronger colors than red, yellow, and orange. That means it's easier to paint dark with them, so make sure you're keeping those colors light. I'm going to go back with my green and go over all the red bricks. I've made sure to wash out my paintbrush, and then I can put a layer of the complement on each red brick, and then it turns into a neutral. I will do the exact same thing with my orange bricks, making sure that I wash out my paintbrush when I change my color, and then using the complement of orange, which is blue, to carefully create a neutral. Lastly, I will use the complement of yellow, which is purple. I make sure to wash out my paintbrush to change my color, and then I add a layer of purple. Be careful, because purple is a very strong color and it can overpower the yellow. Make sure your purple is watery and light. You might be asking, why, Ms. Messer, why? Why can't we just use brown or black on our castles? Learning about how colors mix together is a really important art skill. A lot of grown-ups don't even know about what happens when you mix complements together, and they might not even know what complementary colors are. Learning how to work with colors in this way helps you make stronger, more interesting artwork. Okay, artists, let's get to work. Have fun mixing your neutral colors.